Well, hello everybody, this is Etta, and look at me. I tell you what, I'm tired. I'm almost out of breath and my back is killing me. But I decided I'd do a little blog here about my day. Well, I've been really busy all day long. First I went out and I cleaned up my little store. And I got the really ripe tomatoes. In fact, they were ready. It's beginning where you had to do something with them. And my family told me that I needed to make some more salsa. So my husband's home today, so he helps me a lot. If he hadn't been helping me, I probably wouldn't have got everything completed like I did. So I told him I was going to go clean up the store and gather up all the tomatoes that we was going to have to make the salsa out of today. And he says, well, I'll put the pan of water on to boil. That's to dip the tomatoes in to get the skins off real good. So he came out and I had one small bucket full all laid out. He says, well, I'm going to take these in, because it's not going to be long until I can be taking the skin off of that. If people don't know it's never canned tomatoes or knew what to do, that you get a pan of water and you get the water real hot, and then in the sink you run a lot of cold water. And so you dip your tomatoes inside this, and when the skins of the tomatoes starts to crack or look like you're going to peel, then you take a strainer. We got one of these great big strainers kind of like this, and then we dip that down in there and all the hot water drains out, and then we dump it over like that into the cold water. That's so that we can get down in there and handle it and then slip the skins off and do the very best we can. And then we put that tomato over in a great big, well, we got some real big stainless steel bowls. I like stainless steel, and that's the only thing you can cook tomatoes and things in. You don't want to use Teflon, and you do not want to put them in aluminum, because the acids in the tomatoes will turn everything dark on the pan, but the aluminum does something, gets inside the tomatoes too, they say. So we only use stainless steel. This is going to be long. I just was going to make a short blob, and I see now it's going to continue long. But anyway, after that, then he puts them over in a bowl. Well, then I get the great big 20-quart pan. Oh, it's so high, great big around. And for me, I can't stand and do anything very long. I just can't do it. So I take it into the family room, which I get lots and lots of newspaper, and I spread it all over the floor there and make it several thickness deep. And then I put I get a bucket that I can put when the cores and, well, the bad spots or whatever after you peel them, if it's there, I don't want them in my tomatoes or my salsa. So I put them there, and then I put it over, and then I start cutting it up. Well, when I make salsa, I slice the tomatoes up into little bits and pieces, and all the juices goes down into this pan too. And after we do all of that, then I dice up my bell pepper into little squares and stuff. Now I make a veggie salsa. And then I take my summer squash, like yellow or zucchini or whatever, and I dice them up in very small pieces. And I put that in. And then I put in celery. I dice up the celery real, and I cut it fine. And then I put lots of diced up onions. The old yellow onions that's got pungent, but when they cook it gets mellower. But anyway, so anyway, I've done this so long I can't I don't have another recipe that I can say, well, you use this many cups of tomatoes and you use this or that. When I get my tomatoes all in this pan and it cut up and I see how much, then I guess how much of the onions and everything. So I put 7 pretty large onions like that all diced up today. And I did about 3 small yellow squash, and I did 1 medium size zucchini, what I call medium size, maybe you wouldn't. But then I took, I think it was about maybe 6 or 7 stalks or more of, maybe it's about 8 stalks of celery, and slice them down and cut them up real fine. And the bell pepper, I think I had about 8 of the bell pepper that I went and cored and took everything out of and sliced up them and put them in. But anyway, I put this on, and you want to, when you start this, you got to start it on really, really low. And like I started on the stove like 4 or 5, I got an electric stove, so it's on 4 or so, and you build it up, because then you got to keep stirring it and mixing it and everything, because tomatoes and stuff will settle, and if you don't watch it, they will kind of stick to the bottom, and maybe you got scorched tomatoes, and that's not nice. So that's why you cut it down really, really low, and you start, and this brings out all the juices of the tomatoes and all the juices of all the onions and everything else. And then after you cook them for a long, long time, it takes a long time to do this, then you can cut up the heat after a while, after all the juices and thing, you got a lot of juice and it's stirred around, then you can cut up the heat, and not to high, but you can cut it up from 4 or 5, you can cut up to maybe 6, and then let it, and then you keep stirring it, and then after it gets cooked and it's boiling, and you think everything's been cooked, even the veggies inside has been cooked, then, and it's really hot, then you take your sterile quart jars, and this is something I do, and the things say that on the thing that you didn't have to do this, but I take the lids of the jars and I put them in a little water, and I put them on the stove, and I put it on warm, just warm, where it just warms up the lids, and that makes the rubber around gets a little soft. And then I got a stainless steel, oh God, about that big around pan, and it's got holes all in the bottom of it, big. I mean, it's like a big stainless steel colander like thing. But anyway, it's got a handle on it, and then when I stir it up, then I take this and I dip it down in there and I raise it up and I stir it back with a stainless steel spoon, and then I start dipping it into the jars. That's what I do. And then I take and I when I get it full, then the jar full, then I put the lid on, and then I put the ring on. And usually while I'm doing this, my husband will take the lid out of the thing, and after I clean the top of the jar, and he puts it on, and then I take a ring and I go like this, and I start it, and then he takes it and he tightens it down real good, and he sets it over. We got a big old towel over there that we set everything on. And anyway, to make the story short, which is going to be long, but this is the way I made my salsa today, if anybody's interested. And then we had ended up with 6 quarts of salsa. Is all out of this big pan. But wait, at the very, very end, we take this salsa and we take another stainless steel pan, we put it down, and we drain all of this in there and let the juice all fall through, and it gets into this other pan. Then we put it on the stove and we turn it up until it starts boiling. Now we can this juice. It's red just like tomato juice, but we call it our V8 juice because it's got all the juices of the onion, the squash, and everything else, and it tastes a little different from our tomato juice. And we had 5 quarts of juice. So anyway, that's what we done today. And then I've been taking care of the store on top of that, out there, what I call my store. And I've had 3 customers today. And then I thought I had a tomato buyer, and I rushed out. And I thought to myself, well, that looks like my sister's rig. Well, I couldn't see through the dark windows. And it was raining some, so I couldn't see real good. And I kept saying, well, boy, somebody's got a rig just like my sister's in them. So anyway, it ended up being my sister and her husband. And they came. And today, of all things, I have to tell you, I had a real good dinner. After doing all dicing and slicing, I'm tired. I got this, my husband wanted baked salmon, so I took the salmon and I put a little salt and a little black pepper. Then I put dill weed all over it. And I didn't have the lemons here today, but I have lemon juice. So I got this big double thickness of foil, and I put the salmon down in it. And I put the onions, sliced onions, and put it inside, and then I put the lemon juice all around, and then I sealed this all up. This foil up, everything where it's sealed up there, where nothing, the steam or nothing could get out. And I put it in my roasting pan, then I put it in the oven. And I baked it for 350. And geez, that turned out good today. And so my sister and her husband, when they come, they had a real treat today. She said it was a real treat. She was never so surprised. Then I had some broccoli and carrots and cauliflower put together, and then I had inside the little potato rings, not the I got out of the freezer. It's a look like little potato patties. They're not little, about size of a quarter or bigger, Anyway, that was easy. I put them in the oven and did them. But anyway, and then I had Jell-O with bananas in it. My husband loves Jell-O. So anyway, that was our dessert. And my sister said, how in this world did you do all of this? Because it was still cooking, and while she was here, I had to can all this other stuff. But anyway, can it. But anyway, she says, boy, you've been busy today. I said, I have been. So that's my blog, and that's my day for today. I know it's long, but bye.